4 years old, our house burned down. Insurance didn't cover paying off that mortgage. So fortunately, my mom was a nurse and she was able to work a ridiculous amount of hours, some 80 hours a week, and pay off that mortgage while still finding us another place to live. So I've been fortunate to have a lot of really good role models in my life. Obviously, my mom being at the top of that list. Okay. When all is good, why rock the boat when my child support's low? Yes. I want her as well. We know who it was filed by.
She always very passionately said, I'm going to be an attorney. And she'd look at me with dead set eyes, and I 100% believed her. And not only just becoming an attorney, but actually being a good attorney that is going to make a difference. Erin's passion sets the bar for everyone else in our office. So we're at home on a Saturday night, it's 8 o'clock, Erin's phone starts buzzing. It says a lot of our staff who's feverishly working to prepare for the cases that we're going to handle that next week. They share Erin's passion, and it's contagious, and it's been spreading through our firm.
All right, thanks for staying so late. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. I love doing family law. I feel like I really help people every day. I feel like...
What should I do?
What should I do?
What should I do?
What should I do?
What are my rights? What are my rights?
What are my rights?
A legal course of action.
A legal course of action.
A legal course of action.
A legal Morse of action.
There, let me switch out. There we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new episode of Legal Morse of Action. My name is Patricio, and as always, I'm joined by Erin Morse.
What's up?
I seriously wish that we can. Well, now you're doing it on your personal Facebook. You go live, and you can hear our little banter back and forth.
I know.
Because I swear, every time before we start recording, I find out more about you that you don't know about this podcast. We're on Spotify? What?
I have other very important things to tend to.
Exactly, yeah. So I cannot be mad at you on that one, but this episode has been what, 2 or 3 weeks in the making.
Oh my god, I'm so tired.
I almost died this week. So and last week I think once again, like, if I don't see you away from everything by 4 o'clock, I'm like, no, we're going to scrub today's episode because you don't want to have an unhappy Erin on the show.
Yeah, and if I don't eat, we're going to be real hangry. That's going to be a problem too.
Did I just hear an echo? Testing.
I can hear it in this.
That's impossible.
Okay.
No, I'm
I'm
not
lying. I'm just kidding.
Are you sure your computer's not like it's muted? Because I hear that little echo.
How about now?
It's gone.
It was my computer.
It was gone. Okay.
That's me. I was
Boom!
messing up. But it sounded like it was right here.
No, I'm taking that as a win. You were wrong. I was right.
I was totally wrong.
Moving forward.
I really was wrong. I'm okay with that.
Well, look at that. No echo. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate the feedback. But yeah, last week's episode had to be scrubbed because I don't know if was it a trial or just like you just had a long day of hearings.
Today?
Today, last Thursday, every day. I feel like these past 2 months, it's just been chaos after chaos. Well, no, case after case after case of hearings on your calendar, and like there's no wiggle room for you. And we're sorry for that. Like from the receptionist down to the billing specialist to all your paralegals and your marketing director, we're sorry for making you so busy these few weeks. But how are you, Erin?
Good. Yep. Good. Yeah. It's been interesting. We have I don't know if it's just me that I have this like ability to just pull a rabbit out of my hat. But
So those just listening to the live stream, not the live stream.
it's been crazy. It's been crazy.
It has been, and you've been handling it like a effing pro, because I've seen other attorneys that have like, I'm talking about like 4 or 5 attorneys under them, and they're still like pulling the hairs out of their head. But you have kept it so cool, and till now I'm just like, how the f do you do it, Erin? I swear. And I'm not saying just as a woman. I'm saying as a human being in general. All
Right.
the stuff that you put on your plate. That's like, ugh.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know how I get it done. It's just
You see, even now during the show, guys, if you're not watching us during the live feed, she is still working. She is still answering emails, going through.
I am. Yeah, he's getting the little buzzes because I'm including him on it. I hate emails. I hate emails. If you want to get in touch with me or you want to speak with me, please don't email me. I don't know what it is. I get so many of them. It makes it really difficult for all of them to be answered. My hatred of emails really stems from the fact that everybody expects you to respond to them same day.
Oh yeah.
There's just an expectation that that it's like an instant messaging service. So I don't care for it at all. I don't care for that level of expectation.
Well, no, I mean, just like you said, it's not text message, it's not instant messenger. You know, you're sending a full out, question or attachments or what have you. Like, give it some time. At least a day or two.
Well, and specifically, not that I'm more important than other people, but specifically, for example, me. Today, I had some plans to get through my inbox and, get through the more important stuff. And Kyle does an exceedingly good job at managing the inbox and dealing with the emails.
That's why he's going to the hockey game with me.
And part of the problem that I have is that, for example, this morning I was in meetings with clients, and then this afternoon, because our clients kind of settled.
Yeah, usually when that pops up, like you kind of like want to jump the gun on it, right?
I mean, I don't. I don't mean it like that, and I mean it like your emergency, your lack of planning, your lack of diligence is not my emergency. I've said that a number of times this week. That's been like this week's theme. So if I think that opposing counsel that they're going to come to an agreement, I'm like, sign it or don't. I've already provided you with an agreement, and I know I have because I do it in nearly every mediation. And unless you're putting pen to paper on an actual agreement and a good offer, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not staying up till midnight for you so I don't have to go to trial. I don't mind trial. If you think you're going to agree with a bunch of stuff, I don't know, tell the judge tomorrow morning.
No, you're trigger trial happy.
Well, the problem is if I feel like this case in particular is a really good example. If I didn't put on the heat and press down the pressure on going to trial, this result wouldn't have happened.
Do you utilize that tactic as a bluff, or is like trying to get them to like?
It's not a bluff. I love going to trial.
Okay.
And I don't allow opposing counsel to have 6 and 7, 8, 10, 11 hours of time to speak with me on maybe a settlement. I'm like, no, I noticed it for trial. You have a good settlement offer that you know I'm reasonable with? We went to mediation. We were required to go to mediation. You know what my position is. I stand on that.
And luckily today they were able to sign that MSA.
We were. And trial's tomorrow. So the judge called a hearing all of a sudden at 1:30, which this never happens. Judges never call up a hearing all of a sudden.
Yes, they do.
They did it today. They did it today. I think the judge was like, I would love a day off. And you know what? He's a good judge. I think he's been real accommodating with me. I know I've had a couple of other colleagues say they've had some difficulties with this judge in particular. I personally haven't, so I wanted to be accommodating to this judge. But I told my client, I'm like, if we don't get signatures today, I'm like, we can read your agreement onto the record, and then I'll prepare a final judgment. Like, I'm not going to kill myself for this. I'm not doing it. I don't.
But I mean, the agreement was. Now, I will say this: being in the room with opposing party and counsel was interesting to me because first time I'm seeing this, where I kind of saw him kind of. I don't know. I don't want to say like sad or upset by signing the MSA, but there he had made a comment where he'd like, "Oh, I want to tell her something." Immediately, you were like, "No. No, you stay. No, that's a bad opposing party."
You're divorced.
Yeah.
You don't have access to my client.
Mm-hmm.
You do not get to like pull her through this anymore. The answer is no.
And I saw him kind of just like, I've been in court proceedings where
I don't think he expected me to just be like, no.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think he expected me to like put down I look nice. I look like I'm a nice person. He really hasn't had, I probably look like I'm a nice person. I don't know what do nice people look like. But he hasn't had much direct interaction with me, even though he was pro se for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But so when he heard me and how do you explain it? Like that feeling I give in the room. You've explained it one way.
You walk in and it's like your presence demands everyone's attention, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass, but like literally the first time I met you, I stopped what I was doing to just like pay attention to what were the next words that were going to come out of your mouth.
So I don't think that's what he was expecting when he walked in or saw me. Because also today I'm not in high heels. I'm not dressed up because I wasn't expecting to be in court.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to see anybody. I'm still dressed professionally. I still had a jacket on, stuff like that. But I'm not in a full-on suit and whatever. And then when I spoke, he was like,
No.
yeah. All of a sudden I saw him and he was like, oh. And I think I could almost tell by his personality that he's someone who would like push back or argue.
He did seem that way.
And he was like, I don't think I'm going anywhere with this.
Now my question is, and this is completely off topic, but he said that he never signs with his left. Why was he signing with his left?
He got a lot of problems going on.
Okay.
A lot of problems.
I'm like, okay, if you don't sign with your left, why are you signing with your left?
I literally, in my mind, I was like, I don't give a shit, buddy.
You can sign with your toes. Just sign the damn thing and get out of the office.
I don't care. I don't care if you lick your finger and put it in ink, and I don't care. I don't care. You're keeping that copy, and I'll make another one, but I don't care.
But immediately, once it was signed, copied, and stapled, and given to all the parties, you were like, "Go, Patricio, go. Judge so-and-so, go." I'm like, already. And the thing is, like, I've been going to the courthouse a lot more in the past few months.
I know.
And I don't even have to look at my phone anymore because I would take the first time I went, I had to go to every floor to take a picture of where the judges' chambers were because I couldn't remember. And now to the point where, like, you said the judge's name, I'm like, 8th floor. I know where I'm going. But it's it's always a cool experience. I don't want to say it's an interesting experience.
It was cool for us.
Oh yeah, no, it was cool
it
for
was
us.
uncomfortable for him. Poor guy.
It's an incredible experience to be able to finalize a divorce.
Yeah.
Because even our client, when she had signed everything, I walked out of the room and she's like, "Wait, am I divorced now?" I'm like, "Not yet, but you're almost there." We can see the finish line.
Yeah, close enough that you could go get your certificate of marriage and it won't expire before you're divorced.
Exactly. So we kind of broke some records for our social media 2 weeks ago, and I kind of
personal records
because I actually wanted to do this episode last week because of said thing, but we had made a post after seeing an episode of South Park. And
is it an old episode?
No, it's actually a brand new episode. It's their latest episode from the vaccination special, which I kind of want to dive into that in a second.
The irony.
I know. Where I'm just before I play the clip for the viewers and for everybody, the clip, the whole episode is the boys are breaking up, and they don't want to break up because of Kenny. They want to be there for Kenny, but then they've gotten to the point where like they can't do it anymore. They want to go their separate ways, so they decide to establish a parenting plan for Kenny. So I'm going to put that up there for all of us to see real quick.
Cal, you have Kenny for 2 days starting on Monday. I have Kenny Thursday and Friday, and then Stan, you get it for the weekend. Then we switch, where I have Kenny starting Monday, Stan gets 2 days, and Kyle gets a weekend.
Do we really have to do this? That all seems overly confusing.
Okay, so we can go alternating weeks. Each one of us has Kenny for 6 days, and then we rotate. A week is a long time for Kenny to be with one person. Alternating weeks with a midweek visit. We have longer stretches, but chance for a break.
Oh, come on, what about sleepovers? We can't take those away from Kenny.
Alternating weeks with midweek overnight. It would be easier if I just knew I always had Kenny on certain days. 3-3-4-4 rotation. Makes everyone's days consistent. Hang on a second, guys. Everything okay, buddy?
Yeah, what's going on?
We're almost done in here, Kenny. You liking that birthday cake flavored ice cream?
Yeah, it's fine, but
Okay, you're doing great, pal. The 3-3-4-4 is the most consistent, but to change weekends, we would need the 2-2-5-5 rotation, where the weekends can actually fluctuate.
I don't even know what to say.
Well, I say that out of all of those, the first one makes the most sense. The 2-2-3. I agree.
So when Kyle and I first showed you that clip, when Kyle and I first saw the episode, immediately we're like, Erin needs to see this. Erin needs to see this because I feel like she could totally relate. And then when we showed it to you, you would giggle throughout the video, but then you realize like that's exactly how it is.
It is exactly what I have to do. I'm like making all these charts. And I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about like this, and this thing? And like, ugh. And then like I'll do that. You know, mediation usually lasts about 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that for 4 hours. Like, it's funny, but I'm like, I live this. That's how I feel, because I do. And then I'm there and I'm like going over this stuff. And I personally have an internal policy procedure where I meet with my client and speak to them before mediation. Mm-hmm. And I make them fill out a form. I make them tell me what they want. I make them tell me what they're thinking about, tell me what their expectations are, so that when I go to mediation, I try to avoid. This is what's so ironic. One of these guys was like, one of the characters was like, I don't even know what to say. There's a lot of this that happens. I'm not emotionally ready to make this decision.
And I'm emotionally ready. What?
Well, I don't let my clients do this to me.
Okay.
Because what I do in the prep meeting is I go, I want you ready to make these decisions. It's why I prepared you about a week ago with this document and made you think about it and answer everything. It's why I'm having this phone call and we're a few days ahead of time. I want you thinking about this. So this is our strategy. This is what we're going to do. This is what you can expect. This is what mediation is. This is what mediation means. So, because if my client told me they're not emotionally ready, and I'm like, we prepared pleadings months ago. Like, you have to get there.
And after we had shown you the video, you had said something that I actually had to research on to make sure, maybe it's true. You're like, someone had just went through a divorce. That's why they did that. And you were absolutely right. It was actually Trey Parker whose divorce had just recently ended, who had filed in 2019. And just finished out. So with the whole parenting plan issue, I'm sure like that's what drew the what do you call it? The inspiration.
Oh yeah.
For said
that was almost like, to me, I was like, yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. The struggle's real. But we, and sometimes the reason why I can't get agreements is because the opposing party is not emotionally ready to make this decision. And I'm like, we'll have the judge make you emotionally ready. Set it for trial.
but usually when these parenting plans get established, finalized, and then entered by the judge, a lot of times, like you would think that this is it. Like there's no coming back. They've gone back and forth. We've settled on this. There should not be any problems down the road, and then boom. They're calling you like, "Hey, Erin, I'm not happy with the parenting plan. We need to modify it."
I can do a motion to set aside a parenting plan. I need some good cause, but it's not working. I don't really like it. The kids are tired because they stay up too late at mom's house.
And
You know.
here's actually one of the first questions related to the parenting plans that comes in. My child's mother is constantly trying to sabotage our parenting plan. Calls for one thing and texts a completely different plan. I keep telling her to only text me, but she knows what she's doing. Help.
Stop answering the phone.
So normally when someone talking to you over the phone saying, "Hey, I'm going to pick up the kids at 5:00," and then texts something completely different, do you think that's like, how would I say? What's the word?
Manipulative?
Manipulative and purposefully trying to sabotage it?
Yeah.
And your best advice right there
Would be to respond with, hey, we just spoke on the phone about X, Y, and Z. Can you clarify?
Okay.
Have them clarify via text and say, okay, that way. And then next time, do not answer the phone.
With Florida being a
Because the default is that you go back to whatever the parenting plan was.
mm-hmm.
So you could say in the text message, I don't agree with that. The parenting plan says this, and make them revert all the way back to the parenting plan.
Dang. So okay,
You want to
so,
be a dick.
and you do well. I want to make sure I say that the right way. You deal with a lot of people acting like dicks on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I phrased that properly.
Yeah. Yeah, acting like. I don't deal with a lot of those.
Yeah.
Be awkward.
But with going back on the parenting plans, usually do these parenting plans get proposed or finalized at mediation, or like when is the parenting plan actually finalized?
When the parents sign it or we go to trial, it just every case is different.
Okay.
We had that one case that we had a marital settlement agreement, and there was like one line item that our client didn't like, and she crossed it off, which you're allowed to do. That is supported by the law. It actually the ultimate result of it ended up being beneficial for the other party, but also beneficial for our client because she was like, I just want to move this along, right? And there's a price that you can put on finality. She saw what that dollar amount was, and she was like, fine. And she put it on a credit card. And I think that was the right way to handle it because it's not worth it, right? What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
You'll pay me more to fight it.
Is it worth the squeeze?
Right, is the juice worth the squeeze? So, and then the other party filed a bunch of motions, and I kind of was trying to take the approach of, wait this out a little bit because they were wrong in what they filed. I'm like, this isn't going to go anywhere, and if I have to fight it, I've already had this issue in front of this judge and succeeded, and I had the same position then that I have now.
You mentioned something at the very end of both parties signing the MSA, where you were talking to opposing party's attorney, and you had said because of the relationship that you and the attorney had, it helped speed up the process.
Yeah, I don't think I would have had the increased level of cooperation as I would have had it not been an attorney that I know and have a good trusting relationship with.
And do you feel like cases like that tend to go a little bit smoother?
They definitely go smoother. Definitely. Because she only became the attorney, I want to say, under a week ago.
Oh, crap.
So she came in and like saved the day for him.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I saw what you filed and your position is reasonable. It's like, you're not going to court, asking to get everything under the sun and he get nothing. You're asking for what really is equitable and that the law supports. And I went, I know.
Did you see the squirrel too?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
I can't see far away, so.
I do have a question that came in that I want to get just your reaction off the question itself. What do I do if I don't agree with the advice my attorney is giving me?
You could always, I don't know, God. You could always set a consultation with another attorney and ask for their advice. That's the point. I recommend, honestly, that you find an attorney, and this is even about me. This is any kind of an attorney. You want the kind of an attorney that you have to pay for a consult with. They know the value of their time. Their time is valuable, and they're going to be willing to give you the goods because they got paid for their time. In my opinion, sometimes when you don't pay for a consult, it's supposed to be a sales pitch, right? It's supposed to be so that they can retain you for a client. But if you have to pay for the consult, they're going to be more willing to give you the legal advice because they got paid for their time.
Yeah.
And that's our stock and trade, right? Abraham Lincoln said that. So.
Boom.
He did.
Did not know that.
Yep. And that's basically what I trade services for. My time. And you pay me money for that,
Yeah.
right? Of course, I gain results and arguments and all of that, but it basically is my time based on my knowledge and experience. So, you want someone who, because they're going to be willing to give you the legal advice. Because they're like, no harm, no foul. Just like we charge for consultations, but I will give clients legal advice, and sometimes that legal advice is, you don't need a divorce right now.
Yeah.
What you need is, you need to take this path, right? You don't need to do this. Or, that's a really simple motion. I think that if you file it, you'd be okay. Let me give you some advice on what to say.
And that's the thing. Like, you're not pro-divorce. You're pro-family.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, you don't need an attorney. Or I hear about their finances, and I'm like, you guys don't have enough money for an attorney. Like, I want to let you know that at the end of this call, if you speak to my closing agent that I have here, when you speak to them, what they're going to quote you is like too much money.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
It sucks, but it's the nature of the beast. I mean.
Right. And I understand that it's expensive. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth every penny that I charge. I don't care. I'm sorry to tell you. But when I hear parties who, maybe don't have a lot of assets, or they don't have really major issues, they don't have children, there aren't like things to fight over, I'm like, let me give you some links. You should try filing this without an attorney, because I really don't feel good about taking your money.
No, I mean,
It happened to me twice this week. I'm like, I don't feel good about taking your money. I don't think that you should do this. I don't think you should do this right now. I don't think that you should.
and paying a certain amount of money to just kind of get like a ease of mind, I think it's totally worth it. And at least getting the information from someone who knows what the hell they're talking about, and it's not a Google page.
Right. And I gave her some advice on what she could do and some services that could be offered to accomplish this. But when she told me, both parties' finances and what she was seeking, I'm like, what you're seeking, the law provides. So even if the two of you don't settle this in mediation, like, you're going to get this.
Yeah.
It was real equitable, real even. They didn't have much. I'm like, you could get through this as a pro se litigant, and if you want to spend money, maybe spend it on someone who can just help you fill out the forms.
Exactly. But no, thank you so much for that question. And that one was actually kind of loaded right there. Thank you.
Ooh.
All right, so the next one coming in is, what do I do if my child does not want to go with their mother? He's 11 years old and hates going with his mother because of her cats. Not allergic, just hates cats. Any input?
Well, 11-year-olds don't decide. They don't decide who their parents are. They don't decide where they go and what they do. If your 11-year-old was like, Dad, I don't want to go to school. I'm not allergic to pencils. I just don't like them.
That's not a valid excuse.
There you go. That's your answer. It's not a good enough excuse.
But if I may, kids in this generation, I feel, have a lot more power than when we were their age in our generation.
I feel like, I'm going to be honest with you.
Go for
I
it.
feel like in a situation like this, without more information, my first suspicion is that you and mom have a high conflict divorce, have a high conflict co-parenting relationship, and you want a reason. Because if you were supportive of mom's relationship with your son, you'd go, shut up and get in the car. Because I cannot imagine myself with, my son's father and being like, I really don't want to stay home with Dad, even though you're going to the office, because he could come to the office with me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't care. Like, too bad. That's your dad and that's who you get. click, like that's who you get. That's, this is what it is. And, I know that my son needs that relationship. So he can be annoyed with it. That's okay.
So follow-up question to that one right there. And I mean, I know the answer, but a lot of our guests, a lot of our listeners do not know. At what age can a child choose which parent they want to live with?
At 18 years old.
Like, you see, I didn't even need to be an attorney to know that.
There is some, when the child's a teenager, you really can't force a teenager, and a lot of judges will support that. But if you're doing nothing at all to encourage the relationship, you're kind of harming your child. I get it. They don't like their parent, but let them decide when they're 18. What if it was you? What if you were the parent they decided they didn't like because you had too many rules and you didn't let them eat enough fruit snacks, or you don't take them to Disney World because you don't have as much money to do that?
I was put in a similar situation when I was going out with my ex who had 3 kids, and they would go spend time with their dad, and then they would be at home with us, and it got to the point where like they didn't want to go with dad because, hate to say, like, it's not that we were having more fun, but we were more relaxed where we were at, and I'd always push, because I think you've known my history where like I've dated women who have kids, and
Yeah, you like the MILFs.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, hey, love my MILFs. I've always encouraged my my partner to like do not deny your child spending time with their father, because I grew up without a father, and look how messed up I came out to be. But it's very important that you be able to share your child with your spouse, right?
Yeah, it's important for your kids. They need their parent. It isn't about you. It isn't about anything other than that. Your kids need it. And you get a free day off.
Wind down Wednesday,
free babysitting. Are you crazy? Take it.
I at a previous firm, I remember talking to this one client who I actually went to have dinner with a few weeks ago just to follow up, because she went through a nasty divorce. And through the grapevine, she found me through social media, had some questions, and I was trying to set her up, with us to talk. But she ended up finally settling with settling the issue, and hey, let's grab dinner, let's talk it out. And I forgot where I was going with this.
Wasn't interesting.
I know. I'm sorry. That link supposed threw me off. Wow. Next question. Sorry. I am currently going through a divorce, and we are trying to establish a parenting plan. My husband knows my work schedule and is proposing me days that I am not available. What can I do?
Stop talking to him and take it to trial.
Just bite the bullet and take it to trial?
I'm sorry, but this is... People are like, he won't agree. What do I do? What do you do if they don't agree?
Take it to trial.
Stop doing this back and forth desperation for agreement. I understand we want that, but we have a referee to make the calls. I understand it's expensive, but sometimes the pressure of going to trial is what drives settlement. I have a lot of cases that when I notice it for trial, all of a sudden I get another, oh my God, we have a proposal for settlement. I'm like, why? We had mediation 2 weeks ago. I understand. I noticed it for trial, and we got a pre-trial date, and we now have dates for compliance over the next month. Oh, you quoted your client what a trial was, and they don't want to go? Why didn't you advise them of this during mediation? Maybe I don't want to hear your proposal for settlement. I'm not required to. I went to mediation. I'm not saying I'm vexatious like that. I will entertain it. But if the position was absurd in mediation, I typically will say I'm not available, and I put out my availability to discuss settlement like a week or two, because I want opposing counsel to know your lack of planning isn't my emergency. It happened to me this week where I had a lot of court hearings. I had a trial that, whatever, and they were like, oh, well, we want to set up a call between Attorney Morse and Attorney Schmo. And my assistant goes, didn't they have mediation last week? What do they need to speak about? She knew. She knows my tactics, right?
Yeah.
And it's because they saw my notice of readiness for trial. And they go, well, and they said, her first availability is like 2 weeks out. And they were like, really? It's about settlement. And she was like, okay.
Oh,
Her
it took me a
first
second.
availability.
I'm like, wait a second, when did this happen? I'm like, I'm the one who was sending the text messages.
Yeah. First availability is 2 weeks out. But okay, well, if something else comes up sooner, just let us know. I'm like, okay. Get your pretrial statement ready because that thing's work intensive in Orange County.
Thank you so much for that question. And following with that last one, what's the difference between mediation and arbitration?
Mediation is a voluntary process. It's not voluntary that you attend. It's mandatory, at least in Orange County. But it's voluntary in that you come to the agreement that you are willing to agree to or not. And arbitration, usually it's quasi like a judge in a lot of times. A lot of times it's binding. And the arbitrator has a say to make a determination on certain issues.
Okay.
Generally the difference.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, next one coming up. I am writing this for my brother who's...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You want to know a good example of binding arbitration?
Yes.
You watch binding arbitration all the time and you love it. Judge Judy. It's binding arbitration. That's not a real courtroom. It's an arbitrator.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Ah.
Yeah, I learned something new. Next question coming up. I am writing this for my brother who's currently in prison. He had a parenting plan established before he was sentenced. Does the mother have any obligation to bring the child to visit him?
No.
So once someone...
Come on.
Once someone is incarcerated, of course they lose their civil rights. With the loss of civil rights, does that also include seeing their kids?
Well, you don't have time sharing because the other parent can't be away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Your circumstances completely changed.
Wow.
No.
So lose your civil rights, lose the...
Do you get to go visit grandma when you're in jail?
No.
So can you visit your kids?
Not at all.
Okay.
Dang. Sorry, guys.
I
I mean, it is what it is. I'm sorry.
I don't make the rules.
Yeah. If a parent loses custody, can it be regained?
Sometimes.
Is that by case basis, or?
Yes, it depends on what and how you lost custody. So in Florida, we don't really have custody. So if there's sole parental responsibility and you don't have time sharing, and it depends on what your final judgment says or the order in which you lost custody. I just air quoted that because I'm a professional.
That's what I got. It depends down there.
Then there oftentimes is a way that you can get it back. But if your parental rights were terminated, no.
So once you lose your parental rights by the state, that's it?
Well, you can lose them in family court.
Okay.
It's harder, but you can do it.
I mean, you got to be a real piece of work to lose them, right?
Yeah. Or agree to it.
Or voluntary, just give them up,
That's not.
Okay, next one coming up.
It's awkward.
Will a child's special needs be given any consideration?
Every time.
Every time?
Yep.
So, depending on, what parent has the insurance to cover the child's needs or facilitate the child's needs?
Well, if there are cost considerations that need to be made, those will be made in child support, etc. If there are certain things, like if the child has, for example, autism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes autism, he or she will need additional therapies and other things like that. Sometimes. So sometimes that is also a consideration.
Okay. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
All right, next one coming up. Ooh. Here we go. Every time I pick up my kids from their mother's house, they reek of weed. Their teachers have brought it to my attention as well, but my ex denies smoking around them. Do I have any say?
I would call DCF.
Even if it's your kids on a parenting plan that you guys established?
I would call smoking weed. Is that in the parenting plan?
I mean,
No, you're doing drugs in front of the children, and if they reek of weed. That's not good. I would definitely start with DCF, and then if you have to, you can file a motion with the court. I would definitely make friends with the child's teacher and see if that child's teacher would testify to it. Because if you have a third party who says they come to school and they smell like weed and it's concerning me,
Yeah.
you know?
Or does the teacher want to know where they get that good stuff? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So cheesy.
I know.
That was like a dad joke.
I know. Okay, so don't smoke weed around your kids, okay? Please.
Come on, don't be a moron.
What
You
is this,
smoke it outside.
What is this, Kissimmee?
Come on. Smoke outside if you're going to smoke.
Yeah.
All right, well, use your head. God.
Yeah, I've seen, in my experience, I've seen some very neglectful parents. And the one thing that I can't stand, and I mean, I'm not a parent, but I can't stand when someone is smoking a cigarette in their car and
That's illegal now.
there's a child in the back seat.
Yeah, how stupid are you?
Or taking your kid on a stroller and smoking while you're pushing the stroller. Like, I'm sorry, if there's a child around, don't damn it.
I already
Bye,
swore.
Booze.
I already swore on this one. I can't make it.
I'm just expressing my personal opinions. The views and opinions expressed here do not reflect the views and opinions of the law office of Erin Morse. But
I don't. Obviously, I don't think anybody disagrees with the fact that you shouldn't smoke around your children. I think people just do it anyway.
people are just
So.
dumb.
Smoke weed outside, folks.
Yeah, and smoke your cigarettes away from your kids, please.
Yeah.
Especially at theme parks. Come on, people. Sorry, going off a tangent right there. My ex currently has supervised visitation with our daughter. He has been begging me to lift this restriction because of the progress he has made. Do I make this decision or does the court?
Do you want to make this decision? Do you think you want to send in an agreed order? You could send in an agreed motion and ask the court to lift the restriction.
So it could go either way. in a
Yeah,
sense.
do you agree? Do you think he's done a good job? Do you think it should be supervised? Then come to the agreement. Make a decision. Supervision happened for a reason. But it depends. If your ex has supervised visitation as a result of a dependency case, no, you don't have the right to make that decision. If your ex has supervised visitation as a result of your domestic relations case, your divorce or custody case, you probably could file a motion and get the restriction lifted. But that technically, all of that is not up to you, ultimately, the bottom line. He could file a motion. The person who needs to make the effort to remove those restrictions and make the changes and go to court for it is your ex. So if I were in your position, I'd be like, why don't you do what you have to do? Why don't you call a lawyer? I'm not here to fix your problems. He's your ex. Let it go. I have a couple clients that I'm like, your ex's problems aren't your problems anymore. Until, certain little... I'm like, no, you're not going over there to help with the cats. Or just again, like today.
Oh, yeah.
The client wanted to go, I just want to go. No.
Literally
Y'all
just
settled your divorce.
I was
No.
literally just thinking that.
No. It's over. You guys want to be away from each other? Be away from each other.
It's, yeah.
No.
Okay, thank you so much for that one. So what we've learned tonight is don't smoke weed around your kids and a lot of other stuff. I mean,
Go away when it's time to go away.
exactly. Take the day off. Let them go with the father or mother. Enjoy your time off away from
Yeah,
the kids.
let it go. Lighten up.
Be chill.
Or don't, and I make more money.
And our last question of the night. Our kid is 17 and he wants to get the vaccine. The COVID vaccine, but his father is a tree hugger and is completely against it. I've already gotten my shot and my son wants it. Can I just tell? Can I just get him shot and not tell? Now I know that's a loaded question right there. It is. Now.
Wish you were asking me this privately.
Yeah. So
Client.
exactly. So usually.
Under the law, no, not really.
It depends. It depends.
Do
right?
you have a parenting plan in place? If you don't have a parenting plan in place and you guys aren't married you could do it and tell him, and there isn't shit he could do. If you guys are married and you're not subject to a divorce, if your divorce proceedings haven't either been filed or started at all, you could do it. But if you're in the middle of a divorce or you have a parenting plan and shared parental responsibility,
407-900-7451. You gotta give Erin a call on that one.
I think you'd win on a motion. I do. I think this would
Motion
this
to
would
vaccine.
Win. Yeah. Well, you would ask for ultimate decision-making authority on vaccinations.
I've seen a couple of those go through our office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have. I think it's a winner.
I mean, you got some pretty good wins under your belt. I will say that.
Come up with some creative things.
Oh my God! But I actually got that earlier this week.
What?
That vaccine.
Oh.
And
How was it?
it was fun up until yesterday morning at around 1 a.m. where I just started to have shakes and quivers, and I had to leave work early yesterday because my body had a reaction to it.
I think most people, from what I've heard, are having a reaction to it. I have a medical condition right now, so I can't get it
Yeah.
for another few months.
Just a few months.
Until my medical condition has resolved. But it makes me a little immunocompromised, and their concern is that the reaction could be more severe.
Yeah.
So once I resolve that, I'm team vaccine.
Nice.
I will vaccinate my son. I don't know if they're recommending it for children under 18. I just don't have that information.
Yeah,
I don't think they're doing that yet, but I'm going to...
Yeah, they're like DeSantis allowed, here in the state of Florida, 16 and up.
Yeah,
for that. But I know, with any sort of vaccination, especially, when a child gets a flu shot or we in general get a flu shot, our body goes through a certain change and tries to...
Yeah, you're supposed to have those reactions. It means you have an immune system.
Yeah, and, my immune system kicked my ass yesterday. I stayed in bed since I left the office till this morning.
I watched all your social media to make sure you didn't go out. I'm just kidding. I didn't at all. But you post it all the time, so you wouldn't like.
Oh yeah, no. Even.
But my mom had a reaction to her because she got hers early because she's a medical professional.
Yeah.
So she had the second one, and the second one was a little bit worse of a reaction than the first.
So the Pfizer one that has the 2 shots.
Yeah. What one did you get?
I got the Johnson & Johnson 1 shot.
Nice. If I get it, I obviously would rather have the 1 shot because.
And that's the same reaction I'm getting from everyone. The second I say Johnson & Johnson, I was like, nice. I mean, is there a difference between
Yeah, you don't have to go back.
I mean,
1 appointment versus 2.
Fair, but and honestly, I got to give a quick shout out to the state of Florida and FEMA because the way they had
they're making it happen in Florida.
Holy crap! Yeah, the day I went, I didn't have an appointment. I didn't have to sign up. I got there 45 minutes before they started giving out the shots. They were like, oh, here, scan this on your phone and just fill out the information. I filled it out within 5 minutes, and then finally they start letting all the people in. 15 minutes of observation. Boom, out the door. I had the stickers. I had my card. I was done. And there was no overflow. There was no backing up. It was just smooth operation. And once again, shout out to FEMA for doing their job well.
I agree.
Just had to throw that out there.
I agree. So that's been good. I've noticed that Florida really does have it moving along pretty well.
Yeah.
So
first time, Florida. Thank you.
I'm glad because a lot of my friends and family in Massachusetts, they don't seem to be having the availability that I seem to hear locally.
The U.S. itself has been progressively making strides in getting most of their citizens vaccinated. A lot of countries in Europe are pulling back because of little studies here or there, or 1 or 2 cases causing some really, really bad reactions, and then immediately the country
But
nope.
that's everything.
Yeah.
Come on. That everything people have bad reactions with everything. Mm-hmm. It's just oh my God. Sam had a bad reaction to No, we don't know what it was. He had a bad reaction to a dresser. He had the worst allergic reaction. Had it been a little bit worse or affected his breathing more, he would have been in ICU. Mm-hmm. He would have been inpatient ICU. I really think if we didn't know the medical professionals that we know, like my mom, and we have a good friend who's a doctor, who were just they were much more comfortable like sending him home with us knowing that my mom was there and whatever.
Yeah.
He would have been inpatient probably for the 2 weeks he was sick with it. So, it's...
Yeah, but he swelled up like a freaking basketball.
Oh my God, poor guy. He was so itchy and it was everywhere. I felt so bad.
Like, I see Sam on a regular. I've hung out with him on a social level. I consider him a really, really good friend of mine. I've never seen him upset or like, well, I don't want to say, I haven't seen him irritated. I've seen him that one time irritated when we were putting up the backsplash, but I've never seen him like in a level of discomfort. So like, because he handles situations so well.
I know. He's my husband, so
Yeah,
he knows how to handle being
exactly.
uncomfortable.
But before we get out of here, before the show, I was talking to you and I'd ask you this crazy question, and ironically, it happened before we went live.
I don't remember the question, but I was like, I'm gonna save my answer for on the air. I remember that.
No, I'll ask you as an attorney, when you're off the clock. Well, as an attorney, I think you're never really off the clock.
I mean, I don't give up my license as soon as I walk away, but yeah.
Yeah, like how many times do you get asked like legal advice outside the walls of this office?
Often I'm asked legal advice. If it's something that I do, I typically will. I have no shame in telling someone, I really need you to set an appointment, because if you continue to contact me on my personal Facebook, phone, whatever, I said, I promise to forget.
Yeah.
My personal text messages just get last priority, especially in a work day and when it comes to work.
She's not lying, guys. She made her husband cook chili literally the night before the chili cook-off.
And it comes last, right? So when it's funneled through my office assists with a lot of things, of course, right? Because I can't be everywhere at once. So I try to remind people that unless you contact me through my office, I really just can't help you. I can't. I know that I can't do it. I know that I need this information to be funneled through my office for, all of the requirements I have with the Florida bar. That's important. But also just for maintaining good expectations and client contact. My staff does that. They set the appointments. They make sure I'm available. Sometimes if there's an emergent question that I need to answer, they come over and they're like, hey, we received this question. Can you answer it? And I'm like, yeah, tell them it's this. And this is my legal advice on this is how they can solve it. Can you call them back? And they call them back and you get your answer, same day, next day, whatever, quickly. But that's because you went through it. But if it's me and I've got to kind of, hang up and make that call, it's harder for me to get to it and just juggle all the balls.
Yeah.
Also, it saves you money.
Exactly. Or just check out our live Q&A every Thursday at 5:35.
Yeah, send in a question there. But that is how I make sure that I maintain, my availability and responsiveness. It really is.
No, and people knowing me and in my field, outside of the legal realm, are constantly coming up to me because like, oh, hey, can you ask Erin this for me? Or can you find out this for me? Or, oh, hey, dude, you work at a law office. What should I do about my last will and testament? I'm like, I'm not an attorney. Like, that's
got to be, I hate to say it, but it's got to be your favorite thing to say. You've got to be like, I'm not a lawyer. Gotta go. Call my boss. Here's a link. Because sometimes I wish I could be like, well, I love when they ask me a question. I'm like, not my area of law. Bye.
Well, like this morning, I was saying, like, I had 3 separate calls about 3 legal issues, and only one of them, like, I could actually like give them a response because a buddy of mine calls me. He's like, "Dude, can you find out if I have a warrant?" I'm like, well, like that's easy. That I can do. And
you should have sent him an invoice to pay your hourly rate. I charge $100 for your work.
I'm gonna charge him to touch up my tattoo. So we both win in that situation. But Fortunately, yeah, he does have a warrant, so hey.
Womp womp.
I gave him the number to a good criminal attorney that we know. So
Oh, the one that we refer to?
yeah, that we always refer to. So
Oh, he's my favorite. He's a good criminal attorney.
oh heck yeah. And if you want to get that referral for that criminal attorney, give us a call at 407-900-7451.
He's very often I have very positive feedback from him. I don't think I've had negative feedback.
No, he's a badass dude. When I met him and we talked about the case that I was dealing with, like he broke it down. And yeah,
But I got it no pros.
You got it no pros. I'm just saying, Aaron pulled off a freaking W right there.
They can't even come back with it.
Freaking Tom Brady of Florida law.
It would be. I was gonna say something really petty, and I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, come on.
No, it's not nice. It's
Okay.
not nice. I was feeling emotionally charged on your behalf, and it was not nice what I was gonna say. I won't say it.
If you want to find out what Aaron's going to say, subscribe to our OnlyFans.
I am considering an OnlyFans. It won't be nude. Stop it.
I know. I'm just saying, like, you don't say that. That's like how you reel him in. 'Cause
It might be.
They're thinking like, oh my God, I get to see Aaron's boobies.
No way.
Well, I did that accent. My bad. Sorry, St. Cloud.
Somehow I became a cartoon.
I know. But yeah, the idea of an Aaron Morse OnlyFans is up in the air. So
We're thinking about it.
we're thinking about it. Well, we'll do a poll. We'll do a poll. How many people want Aaron Morse to do an OnlyFans? And we'll let the crowd sway our final
Yeah, with
decision.
enough votes, we'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye.
But I think final thoughts before we get out of here.
No. Take a whole day in your life where you don't have any thoughts of intensity. If you have a really stressful case, and I've assigned this to clients before, I want you to go 24 hours and not talk about your case and not think about it.